Hello, Kyle and the Human Wildlife Coexistence Task Team. Thanks for inviting us here to Jasper today. It's beautiful and the park is beautiful. And this lovely picture of the bear, we definitely want to take care of that bear and all of the other wildlife at JNP and making sure that people are safe as well. They get along. So I've got some ideas for you that we can explore today. So here we go. The typical guest of Jasper National Park. So this, how are they experiencing the park is the main thing. So the think feel at the top. They feel excited but nervous. They're worried about the proximity to wildlife, but, they see others being close, so they think it must be okay. And what are they hearing? People are calling the wildlife and taking pictures and they're talking. And what do they see? They see the wildlife and people engaging and getting close and stopping to take pictures. And what do they do? What do they say? Well, they're really motivated. They want to take pictures. They want to get close. They're very excited, taking their pictures with the animals. Uh, where's the pain? They might experience distress. The wildlife be distressed, people get injured, the wildlife might get injured by the cars. And from the gain side, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for them. So they're super excited. We've got to remember that. They're not trying to do harm, but they really don't understand necessarily the stress that they're causing to the animals and to this whole system. People moving through the park and staying happy and not getting frustrated. So this helps us understand how they're experiencing their visit. Well, let's look at a few types of people who are guests at JMP. So here's Alex, and he's a senior consultant from Calgary who likes hiking and skiing and camping with his wife and children. And he visits Jasper, fairly often and has a high income level that allows that. And we want, of course, a person like Alex and his family to have a good time while they're at JMP. Sofia is a travel blogger from Europe. This is a person who's never been to Jasper, and they like to travel internationally. They take photographs because they have to put them on their blog, and they're engaging people and getting them interested in travel, and that's how Sofia makes her living. And we want to engage with her because we're we're looking for her influence on people to come to the park and also to responsibly enjoy the park while they're here. And our last type of visitor to JMP is Shen. He's an international student from China living in Edmonton. He's never been to Jasper. He has a low income level. He loves getting out and trying new things and the new cultures. And we need to communicate with Shen effectively about what is going to happen and what the experience will be like. And his English is, it's okay, but it's a bit limited, so we have to consider that when we're trying to communicate with him. So here's a summary of the things we need to think about. Just talked about the three personas, the type of people who represent those who come to JNP from Alberta, Europe, and China. We're trying to increase tourism to Jasper and JNP. We're trying to market everything that's offered here. And then once we get people here, we have to make sure that everything's safe for them and for the animals. And we can do a bit of that before they get here. But let's remember that the key activity we're after here is getting people to come and visit the park. They're going to pay for that tourism experience, getting here and staying and eating and all those kinds of things. And we're going to promote this visit through radio or possibilities of radio, print media, billboards, social media, video ads, display ads. We have a lot of options. And just a second here. So the where this happens is, or the type of visitors who come from the place. Europe, Asia, the USA, Albertan guests make up 10% of the visits. So let's look at the stages of the guest. First of all, they're strangers. They, especially the international visitors, they don't know anything about Jasper National Park. So they're strangers. We have to attract them through the website, mainly the website, also social media. And then they're deciding to come and visit. So we have to convert that into deciding to become a guest. And once they're here, we want to interact with them as guests and convert them into promoters. So we have to delight them with their experience. So how can we reach them? Well, at the awareness stage, we're definitely going to use websites and social media, and we're going to mainly focus on digital at the awareness stage, and we get them to consider coming to JMP, and they're going to do searches on Google and other search sites, so we can pay for ads in those on those platforms. And then once they purchase, we need to get them ready for their visit through, again, website information and materials. And then when they're at JMP, we want to engage them with the social media experience while they're here, and also as they talk to each other. And then afterwards, especially for Albertan visitors, we want to increase their loyalty and get them to talk to others and promote the park and the safety interactions with wildlife. So the next two slides are some examples of how we recommend you think about the website usage. And you can create two different website approaches. So when people click from a Google AdWords search for Jasper, and they click on that link, they are either sent to one of two sites. So one site will show them an image like this, and they can learn more, and then the other website will give them a different approach, and then we can measure, of all the people that were sent to the websites, how many clicked on and looked at further information. And that'll give us information about how to set up the website, and so that we can get more conversions. Well, what's the plan? So here you've given us $30,000, and we're planning to spend that in the next summer, so May to August. And the main part of the plan, 10,000, a third of the budget, is for billboards. So the idea there is that it will cost $2,000 to print the billboard materials and get them ready for installation, and then $2,000 a month for the 4 months. And there'll be 4 billboards on the highways around Jasper, leading into Jasper, and those will have images about the park experience with animals and safe interaction. So a bear, a moose, and elk will be 3 of the main 4, and the 4th billboard could be like a combination of the animals with a main message about safe interaction. And then social media will be another large block of our approach. So getting a social media person to promote the park and also the safe interactions with animals using blogs and Twitter messages and Instagram, and getting the pictures and images out with the ideas of what to expect and how to interact with animals when you're here, which is basically don't feed them, stay in your car, don't watch them, take lots of pictures, but don't engage with them and don't encourage them to come closer to people. Kind of let them live their life in the park, and visitors can kind of be there, but not interacting with them directly. So the social media person that we're looking to engage will send out these messages to all of their followers. The AM radio is the $2,000 in June is to record in the recording studio and get these messages ready. And then the rest of the funds are to play these messages on a loop on a dedicated AM channel, which is low. It only sends a message in a short range, and the message is repeating always. So there'll be a sign when they come into Jasper that says tune to AM and then a number like 690 on your radio, and there'll be like 30 minutes of this loop of messages of how to have fun in the park and what to do, and then about wildlife and how to engage with them and what the appropriate practices are. The $4,000 in July and August for Google AdWords is to pay Google for people who enter in a search term, Jasper, and Google will know what area they're from. So people from Calgary will get a message about bookings and how to visit, and people from overseas, international visitors, will get messages about planning their trip. And they get sent to the appropriate websites. So the $4,000 there is to pay for those clicks. And then the Our Animals campaign in August is targeted at Albertan citizens who will be messaged with the idea of the park animals are our animals and we care about them, and we need you to help your visitors, your guests like Shen, to help them learn how to interact with animals, what to experience at the park. The idea here is that when they feel that the animals are ours, then we can relate to them better and we care about them. So that's the plan for the communication spend. So key performance indicators are how we know how we're doing. So financial, we're going to want to look at how we're doing on our budget, and we should have no problem keeping our spending on target. We'll have to stop the Google AdWords when we come close to our spend. The customer, we want to measure the number of visitors coming to the park. We can do that weekly. Visitor injuries with wildlife, we're going to measure that once a year, and of course we're looking for 0. Process social media impact statistics, we're looking at that monthly. Also the billboards, making sure we get them placed, and how many views. They can be measured by how many cars go by on a highway, and we'll have some measures of that monthly. Logistics, we're going to look at traffic jams, how many we have, how long they last, and that can be done week to week. And learning, that's the Albertans Our Animals campaign, and we'll measure that at the end of the season. So here's some risks and possible mitigations of things that might go wrong. Well, the highest likelihood risk is the teal dot, that visitors from JMP's main sources don't visit anymore, and we can focus our targeted ads towards the countries that have good relations with Canada and are sending visitors. The red dot is a hazard risk that someone visiting JMP gets hurt or possibly dies in a wildlife encounter, which is of course the thing we don't want, and we're trying to stop altogether. And if that does happen, though, we have to be ready, and we have to help the family of that potential of that visitor, and make sure that they can come to the park and get them help through the process of their loss. The orange dot is an operational risk that the social media influencer that we hire makes a mistake and loses their followers, so we'll have to be ready to shift to other social influencers. And the low risk, low possibility green dot is a financial one. That the Canadian dollar rises in value compared to other international currencies and makes it more expensive to come and visit. And the mitigation there would be that we can change our messaging to still come to the park and find some low cost alternatives like camping and lower end places to stay where people can spend less money and still have much the same experience. So we're open for any questions that you may have about the presentation, and we have a nice picture here of a moose that's licking a car because the person's doing the right thing and really not trying to engage with the moose, and we have an appendix slide which we can look at as well.